First, I'm really stoked to be here and super happy I always come to these Wednesday things, and I actually really look forward to them because I love seeing all you people. And so not only is it a new year, but then we had like the 111 portal just the other day. And then in just 3 days, it's going to be the end of the year of the wood snake, and it's going to be the beginning of the year of the fire horse. And so understanding all these things and then understanding that Mindy actually booked this thing a few months ago, it leads me to believe that she really knows what she's doing because she's timed this perfectly. And I can't imagine for a second that this is accidental. And so coming into the year of the wood snake, the year of the fire horse, it's supposed to be about energy, freedom, ambition, and charge. And then the year of the wood snake, it's like shedding old skin. So we're going from like shedding things that don't serve you and moving into action. So it is an absolutely perfect time to be manifesting the year of your dreams. And so I'm really, really happy to introduce Mindy Lutch. She has been doing this for 30 years as a life coach. I had this really interesting long conversation with her on the phone the other night, and I think that all of you are really going to enjoy everything she has to say. So please welcome Mindy.
So my name is Mindy, and I love that I get to see some familiar faces, and I also love how many new faces there are. I'm a healer in many different ways, and one of my favorite things to do is be able to have people look at where they've been and figure out and decide where they're going. So this beginning of the new year is a perfect time to do that. And I love that you had just mentioned the where we are right now, which is here. So we have the snake, the year of the snake ending, and the horse, the wooden horse, as we're about to join into this. And so with the energy of the snake, it's about transformation and growth, but it can be really, really slow to where you don't even really notice it so much. And until all of a sudden you're so much farther from where you had begun. But a lot of times you just don't even realize the transformation as it's happening. And one thing with snakes in general is that it's shedding the skin. And so I love the image and the idea of us shedding our skin. But if you've ever seen it or imagine it, it gets to a certain point where there's just the tip left at the end. And I feel like that's where we're at. Like we're at the tip part of shedding its skin, and you're able to kind of see it now where it's, I'm almost to the end. I'm almost to the end. I can see it. And so being able to see the skin shedding is where you really realize what's happening. So I love that this is where we're at. And then also with 2026, it's a 10 as well, right? But it's also a 1. So the way that I look at it and feel the energy of this year that's starting and that shedding is that we're learning in new ways to stand up by ourselves, and also to understand that all we have is us. To some degree, we are what matters. And if like in ceremony, for example, something like that, like you realize like, it's me. It's just me. It's just me. Yes, we are all one and we're all connected, but at the same time, it is about me and you and this oneness and being really powerful and strong of like getting on the horse and riding and being super confident about where you are and where you're going and riding it. So that's sort of the energy that I feel. First of all, I just want to say that whatever you guys came here for in any way, even if you just walk through the door and you're like, oh, creating the year of your dreams or whatever that means to you, I want you to receive that. Like truly receiving anything that you had in your mind of something that you want, something that you're trying to create, and that you really take it as this gift that you've shown up. And really honor yourself for showing up. So whether you understood or whether you just walk through the door, it doesn't matter. But you've shown up for yourself. And we all have that little part of our mind that tells us it's not enough. And that shows itself in many different ways. But when you can show up for yourself, that's the healing that you need. And that's really all we can do for ourselves is show up. So I want you guys to take a deep breath and pat yourself on the back to some degree of like just really honoring that you're doing your work. You're showing up for yourself. Everything that I'm going to say tonight is probably something that we already know, that we've said unto ourselves before, that it's landing in a new way for you. And something that you feel like you're needing is exactly what you're going to pick up. And that's exactly what's going to land for you. So get excited that all you had to do was walk through the door. Yay! Because you all did that. So congratulations. But what I want to create here tonight is the frequency of unconditional love and acceptance for yourself, for everybody in your life, for everybody that's sitting in this room, and everybody that you come in contact with. So in this frequency, all things are possible. This isn't something that we need to force or need to do anything. It just is. So in this space, as you look back at 2025 and you think about what you're creating for 2026, all things are possible. Miracles, magic, waving a magic wand of creating anything you desire. And knowing in your heart that it's totally possible. Nothing is far-fetched. And anything that we have a desire for already belongs to us. Like you would not have the desire to do something if it didn't belong to you, if it wasn't possible. And if you talk with people about what they desire and what they want, it is so totally different. So different. Everybody wants different things. I literally had a conversation with somebody the other day and I was like, oh, I'm so happy to be here. I get to meet all these new people. And that's what I've really been craving. And he was like, really? He was like, I do not. And I was like, I get that, like I can respect that. Some people, it's like torture to meet new people. And then to some people like me, this was something that I was craving and that I desired. So it just shows you how much like anything that we desire really belongs to us and it's super unique. So when we're noticing, oh, I want to start painting. Like my brother just started painting at the age of 52 and he is like so addicted to it and does it every single day. But you just have no idea, right? Like why somebody wants to do something. Just follow it. Even if it's like the slightest little bit of like, I want to try this. I want to do this. I want to do that. Or I want to go to this location. Like just go, just do it. So we never really know why we have these desires, but following through on them is our work. And I personally think that's really fun. So, so following our joy, following what lights us up, even to any degree, is the way that we stay on path. That's how we get to where we want to be, is just following our bliss, following our joy, and doing what lights us up and makes us happy. Creation. So I want you guys to take out your notebooks and we're going to take a little bit of a look back at 2025. And I want us to point out our high points and the things that really lit us up and we had fun. So I want us to think about January and February, and it feels like forever ago. And think about some of the common threads of your best moments last year. So when we can really look back at what lit us up the most and where we had the most fun and all of the things that we're going to look back and remember. Because it's weird what our brain actually remembers and what it forgets. And generally, it's the fun things that we'll remember and look back at and be like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. How quickly we forget. So try to see if there are any common threads amongst the things that were your high point. And then we are going to look at some of our low points as well. And this isn't so that we're trying to wallow in these. It's so that we can learn from them and understand that we're going to have both. So we don't want to just bypass through anything that was challenging and the lessons that we learned from them. We want to honor them and stand in it and also understand that we got through that. And that's not to say that some of our low points are just over with the year ending, but it's the honoring and standing in it that gives us the power in understanding that we went through something that is going to give us power. So when we're trying to plan and become somebody different, when we're trying to change and ultimately going through a transformation, we have to allow ourselves to be different people. So if we're always living in this default mode where we go to the same places, we eat the same things, we are completely doing all of the same things, then we can't expect ourselves to be different. So if we're looking at it and we're honoring the fact that we're in a huge transformation, that we're a new person now, right? So let's call this 2026 Mindy. If I'm going to honor 2026 Mindy, then I need to be able to ask myself questions about whether this still aligns with what I want. So in the morning, if I'm going to ask myself and tune into my intuition of what do I want for breakfast right now, then the more that I can ask myself, the more that I can signal to the universe, hey, this person is considering herself to be different, and she's asking herself whether this is still aligned with what she wants. What does this new version of me want to do with my extra time today? What does this person, this new version of myself, want to wear today? So if I just automatically put on the shirt without asking myself, then ultimately I'm in this just default mode instead of actually being really conscious about what I'm choosing. So not only am I choosing what I am doing, but I'm consciously choosing what I'm stopping. So I want us to consciously choose something that we are going to stop doing. And it can be really simple. It could be complicated. It could be simple. We get to choose. But as we change our patterns, that is when we are deciding to be different people. So as we switch and as we grow, we are making these choices. So what is something that you are choosing to stop this year? And what is going to change if you stop? Like, what does that change for you? Does anybody have an example of something that they would like to stop this year? Praise, say it out loud. Anyone have anything?
Yeah.
Ooh, worry and doubt. That is a good one because it doesn't help anything. Worry and doubt, it doesn't help anything. And in fact, it's doing the exact opposite. Because when you're worried about something, you're telling the universe that you think that you know better. So you're actually creating what it is you're trying not to have. But by us saying and putting it out there, we're actually creating the exact opposite. So it's like saying, I'm not going to pay attention to the orange elephant. It's like all you can think of is orange elephant. Like that worry is literally creating what we don't want. So that's a perfect example of things to give up because it doesn't help.
I wrote what will change if I stop. Trusting God's guidance above.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Faith and trust. Faith and trust. That is what happens when we tell the universe, you know better than my human mind. Right? And then we're able to leave it into where infinite things are possible. And usually things that come to us are like so much greater than what we could have even possibly planned. And then we just look back in amazement of like, oh my gosh, yes, even better. So I try, if I'm looking to create something and I have an idea, I like to say this or something greater. This or something greater. Because even when we're going for things, sometimes the universe is like, this could be so much easier or so much bigger than you think it can be. Or that I think this is part of like a 3 years vision for myself. And the universe is like, oh yeah, you got this 6 months. Here you go. So this or something greater. So what is it that we are going to stop? And then what is it we're going to continue? So there's a lot of things in our life that are really working. And the more that we can look and see what's working, the better. Does anybody have an example of something that's working for them?
Surrender.
Surrender.
Showing up for the people I love. Being grateful.
Yeah. Absolutely. And showing up for the people, like those are the things that we remember. Those are the things when we're on somebody's deathbed, when we're on our deathbed. Like when you're really faced with life and death, you remember showing up for your people. And you remember who showed up for you. And you remember that precious, precious time. It's literally like the number one thing is showing up and surrender. Yes. Because life is so fragile. It's so fragile. And we need these reminders, right? It's like when we show up for a ceremony or do something that's really scary. You know, life can be scary. And when we step outside of our comfort zone and we're in these situations, we're just shown how fragile life is. You're here, you're gone. Like it's can literally be that quick. And so it's good to be reminded of how fragile life is and how easy it is to stay in our comfort zone. So if we stay in our comfort zone all the time, we never grow. We never grow. And that's where trying to do new things, incorporate new things, help us to be able to expand and reach new frequencies and meet new people and do things that scare the shit out of us. Right? I mean, it's important. And that is how we grow. That is how we expand. That's how we do something different. Because otherwise, nothing changes. Nothing changes. We have to step out of our comfort zone. But it's in those moments, and it's when we're stepping out and doing something different that our fear speaks the loudest. And our fear is there to keep us safe, right? It's there to keep us safe. And it had its purpose where we had to have our survival of like running against a tiger and to survive. But that's not exactly our life anymore. So we're not in this fight or flight all the time, but our fear is like, oh, you don't want to do that, or you don't need to grow, you don't need to change, you don't need to stop anything, you don't need to do anything, because it's trying to keep us stuck in that moment. So us changing and growing and trying something new, that's when our fear mind speaks the loudest. I was like, oh, you don't need to try something new. You don't need to go to this ceremony. You don't need to go to that show. You don't need to go on that vacation. Whatever, wherever our mind is speaking, when we're about to expand, that's what you listen to. That voice, that part that's trying to keep us stuck and safe is what we listen to the most. And in that, we learn where that control is. And so if we can listen and know, oh, there's the fear mind telling me I don't need to show up for that ceremony. You don't need to do that. You don't need to grow. Then we're able to see it for what it is and do it anyway and show up in a new way. So Amazing year doesn't happen by chance. It happens by choice. So one of the secrets of manifestation that I feel like most people don't really explain very well is the idea of futurizing yourself. So if you can futurize yourself and get yourself to the point where you are seeing this future version of you and then attuning yourself to that version of you, then that manifestation happens with ease, with more ease. So if you are imagining yourself at the end of 2026 as this version of you, so this version of you already exists. This version of you is because you have these desires. So I was talking about our desires and they belong to us. So if that version of you already exists, then all we have to do is attune ourselves to the frequency of this future version of us. So this December 2026 version of us already exists. So what I want you to write is something similar to, I am happy and grateful now that. And so you're writing it as if this version is now. So I am grateful that I had the most abundant year of my life and I was able to go to Asia, where whatever your desires are, right? So you're saying it as if it's already happened, even though technically it hasn't happened yet. But you're happy and grateful now that 2026 was a fantastic year of growth and you were able to ... So we don't need to explain the how. We don't need to know how all of the parts came together. Just the simple fact. I'm happy and grateful now that 2026 is complete. I am happy and grateful now that I feel calm and at peace in my heart, mind, and soul. So this future version of you already exists. So this is something that I practice all the time, and it truly, truly works. So let's use an example of, I have a business meeting on Saturday, and I want the client to, like, let's say I'm a real estate agent, and I want them to sign with me as the realtor, whatever wording that is, right? So I would imagine myself calling and texting my friend, oh my God, they signed with me. And I would light up with that excitement of that client signed with me. And I would imagine calling my husband or sending my friend a message and be like, oh my God, it worked. It happened. Right? So no matter what it is that you're trying to accomplish, you play as if and attune with the frequency of the excitement that you're going to feel when it happens. So does anybody have an example of something that they want to happen or that we can play along with and show what that would look like to futurize that? What's an example you have?
To have a worldwide TV show on animal-human communication.
Oh, yes. Yes. So for you, I would want you to imagine that you're reading all of the emails of all the people who are messaging you because they want you to read about their dog or their animals. And you're clicking through the emails and you're seeing the photos of the animals And you're like, ooh, maybe we should choose that one. Maybe we should choose that one, right? And start feeling that excitement of like choosing which animals. Yes. Or that like you're receiving this email from Animal Planet and insert 4 different places that you would possibly receive an email from, they would want to have that host that show for you. So you're choosing, right? So you're able to like, I want you to feel it, like that excitement, that like, oh, yes, yes. So it's like you're playing it. You're actually creating it by that desire, right? So you have to feel it. This is all feeling. It's not just in our head to some degree, right? Yes.
If I may,
Uh-huh.
the Tibetan monks pray for us all the time, and when they cry as though it has already happened.
Yes.
What they're praying.
Yes, exactly. And they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. You know, and it seems so backwards to us, right? Like, oh, just wishful thinking. But it's like, these things already exist, right? Like that version of us already exists. So it's just a matter of playing around with it and feeling it as if it's already happened, because it's that feeling part. And that feeling part is what gets us from our head into our heart, which is exactly where we need to be. So at the end of this, I like to thank it. I think the gratitude is number 1. And when we are thinking it as if it's already happened, then we're helping to create that in a new way by thinking that, oh, thank you for showing me this. Thank you. Yes, this is exactly what I needed. So like I was talking about, it's that frequency part. It's the vibration of learning that we're coming from this and following those joys in any way possible. So this version of you already exists. And it's that feeling, that memorizing that counts. So momentum magnets. I wanted to just briefly say this. And basically, what life is a momentum game, and it's about doing things that light us up in any way, shape, or form. So in the morning, I love to do these things. I think that it's helpful to understand just little simple things that we can do that light us up and make us happy. And it could be the simplest things as eating a cookie or having your coffee in the morning and just loving every sip, or going to a concert, or putting music on and dancing in your living room. So it doesn't have to be complicated. We just have to set ourselves up to do things that make us happy. And even if it sounds so silly, but even if you do this for 10, 15 minutes in the morning, it really does make a difference. It really does. So figuring out where your momentum is, figuring out what it is that can light you up, and doing that. I love the morning and the night for these things. I think that it really helps. So here are some affirmations that I wanted to have up during our meditation that we're going to do. We're going to do the interview before the... Yeah, I think so.
We can interview now then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. The first thing I want to ask you about, and I hope that you're willing to be open about this, is like I really want to tie this all back into psychedelic drugs.
Yes.
What is your experience with psychedelics?
Well, first and foremost, I feel like it's that really powerful tool to force you out of that comfort zone. Like, you have no idea what's going to happen. You have absolutely no idea where it's going to go. What is, like, you just have no idea. So I find that it's that easy way, if you could call it easy, an easy way to just literally break out of that comfort zone. And the best way to tell the universe, like, I'm up for anything. I'm up for growth. I'm up for learning. I'm up for the hard, the soft, whatever you're going to throw at me. I'm ready.
Yeah. What about the kind of like the training your brain aspect of it?
I feel like everybody needs a little something different as far as like what they, how wide open our brain goes. And I feel like some people are a little bit more open to just like, oh, wide open, here we go. And then some people need a little bit more of like that training of like, is it safe? Is it not safe? Is it safe? And then you're like training yourself to realize the safety.
Yeah. Yeah. Like our thoughts create reality.
Right.
Is a lot of what you're talking about in manifestations.
Yes,
like, and I think that you see that in psychedelic drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Like their thoughts are creating reality, whether that's like on a simple level, like having you obsessively think about something that's scary and you create a scary experience out of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Our thoughts do create our reality, and I see it over and over again. And it's one of those things that it's fascinating to witness when you're literally creating our reality. So I do find that it's a lot easier to do or to see when we're on psychedelics, to be able to really wrap our brain around it, because it's some of it is like that really fine, subtle things. Like we were talking about when you were mentioning like fear or doubt or whatever words came up, and it's like that, like we're even creating that by even just having that worry.
Yeah. Yeah. Or if you want to see God, put Bach on.
Right.
Yeah. It kind of strips the whole process naked.
For sure. Yeah.
So when we were on the phone, you were talking about being a kid in, was it St. Louis where you grew up? And your first psychedelic experiences there. Would you just briefly like tell the audience about that? Because I thought that was fascinating.
I'm trying to think which part of that. One of my first experiences was literally just sitting on a tree stump in a park on LSD for the first time. And it was very eye-opening for sure, of just like the oneness of everything, and that time didn't exist, and that you're in nature and you're like of nature, and you're just one with this tree stump, basically. So that definitely opened my eyes, because I didn't even understand what spirituality was growing up. Like that was in the Midwest in the 90s. Like it just didn't exist in my world. And so it wasn't until I started playing around in these magical realms did I even understand what energy or creation or anything like that in general.
Yeah. And then I also, I think that the way you told it to me, it was that like your whole coaching business really came out of an ayahuasca trip that you had.
It did. Well, in general, it was through an ayahuasca journey that because I had already been doing healing in general, but it was through that I was like, okay, I'm going to go big in kind of switching over and doing more life coaching and less just hands-on healing. But it was really that like message from grandmother of like, this, you need to do this now, like now. And I was really grateful in that time as well, because this was about 2016. And then I started learning a little bit more like techniques and things like that because I started being a healer in 1995 and with massage school and hands-on stuff and healing and Reiki and all that kind of stuff. And I had always been focused on like helping people see their root issues and like what was holding them back in their programming and that kind of thing. And so it was always like in there and part of it, but it wasn't like just that focus because usually hands-on stuff was the focus. And that was kind of in the background. So I was really grateful to have all the pieces come together come 2020. I had already been doing it for so long that I was able to really help and hold space in the whole thing that happened in 2020 to us all. Little collective trauma. So I was grateful that like all the things were together. I'd already been doing it and I was already holding that space. So I was really grateful for the timing of that.
But you felt called to it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. And most of my gifts, and I'm still understanding my gifts because they change all the time, but is when people ask me questions. And when somebody asks me a question, I receive the answer. So it's a lot easier when people are asking me things. Or, I mean, I can just tune in as an intuitive and hear what your guys are saying. But in general, it's easier when somebody's asking me a question and then I'll receive the answer. So life coaching in that, it makes it a lot easier because we're like having a conversation. But me being able to reflect back onto the person what their programming is, because we've had our programs for so long, we don't necessarily see what they are until it's reflected back. And I'm able to see the circular pattern of like, we want this, but this is our thinking. So we can't get there until that changes. The thinking part, the programming part changes because it won't come back into full circle. If our belief and then our thoughts aren't aligned, then we can't get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Along those lines, in a few minutes, we're going to open it up to the floor. And what Mindy is going to do is she's going to let you bring some questions about your own process and where you're at. And she's going to do like a few live coaching where she gets to lead you, anybody who feels called to do it, through your own process. And so to be brave, I guess, and without another word, I'm gonna go ahead and just be completely transparent, and I'm gonna be the first person. So, I actually thought about this before I came in today. Like, what was I gonna ask? So, I have my own kind of understanding of manifestation, and as I'm sure we all do on a certain level, and my understanding really comes from being exposed to Abraham Hicks many years ago, right? Abraham Hicks, Neville Goddard are my two ends to manifesting.
Great.
And so this year, I went through a super heavy dark night of the soul that had to do with the relationship ending. I went through some massive depression that lasted a couple months, 2-3 months. And the process I'm in right now is kind of alchemizing that to go forward in my life. And it's actually been the biggest gift, right? It's led to me realigning with what my gifts really are in life, what my soul's purpose is. And I felt this really deep calling that also came from a psychedelic trip to create a new business that's more in alignment with what I really feel in my soul, right? And so, like, I have some really good moments in my life, right? Like, really good, where I feel very motivated. I feel very creative. I feel very kind of on it. Things are clicking. I'm in the flow. It all works. And in those moments, my manifestation process, the way I'm looking at everything, it's kind of like I ask. Joy is my base frequency. I'm ready. It is given. I trust the universe. I trust the process. It's already done. And how did I get so lucky? But then there's the other side of that. There's these really hard moments where I feel very stuck, where I'm very stuck in this place where I'm looking for evidence of that thing in my life and it hasn't happened yet. Right? So that's my question. Is in those moments where it's like you're manifesting something, you're looking for something, you're creating something in your life, and it hasn't shown up in the physical reality yet. And you're in that space where you're like looking for the evidence of it. And the looking for the evidence of it is keeping you stuck. So coach me through that.
We pretend that we understand time here on Earth as like this, clock on our watch or whatever, but time doesn't actually exist. So we think of it here as that we're expecting it on our time frame, but the universe doesn't understand time. So I really try in those moments that I'm like trying to force or seek, I notice when I'm doing it, and I'm noticing that I'm putting my time frame thinking that I know about that timing. But really it has to do with us waiting and being super present with the waiting and embracing the waiting as the lesson. Right? So if, let's say you want these things in your life, right? And you're like, I want this business now, and I want this, and I want that, and if we're expecting it to happen on our time frame, then it might not happen when we're ready. So like, for example, if you're going to have a business and you are going to have people working with you, sometimes we need to understand and go through things so that we're more patient with our people, that our reactions are coming from a new place that only 2026 version of you can give you, right? Now, before, if we're practicing our patience and we're learning to be more understanding with people, to have better communication, to have more joy in our life of being exactly where we are because this is exactly what's unfolding, then this is a new version of us that only you can now go through that.
Yeah.
Right? That old version of you from December of last year or last year, it wasn't that time. It just wasn't. It just wasn't. And so now as you're going through it, it's like, okay, well now I could actually handle having 3 people work under me, or that I have the patience to do that. But it's really this like, okay, if it happens, great. And if it doesn't, great. Right? We come from this neutral space of if it's meant to be, it's going to happen. And where we can't rush it, we can't push it, we can't force it. It just is. And especially when it comes from this really powerful place of manifestation, of knowing that this is your purpose, then you can't be late.
Yeah.
You can't. You can't miss what's yours. You can never miss it. It's not possible. It's literally not possible.
Yeah.
You can't miss it. You can only be ready though, because it's now. And when it unfolds, it's now. And so now you practice presence and you practice kindness and you practice what it's going to be like when the client does call and when you do have a full schedule. And right now, if you don't have a full schedule, go play because you don't have this full schedule yet. Right? And so if you're like expecting to have this full schedule or whatever this business looks like, then if it's not there quite yet, what other skill can I learn that when that happens, I'm going to be a better boss. I'm going to be a better mentor. I'm going to be a better coach. I'm going to be a better healer in working on you. Right? So all you have to do is work on you.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is work on you. And all I have to do is work on me. And then notice where I'm rushing. And when I want something to happen on my time. No, this is the universe's time. And that's your purpose.
Yeah,
is running through your head?
That really lands. No, everything you said just now lands completely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because you can be a better version of you so that you can show up bigger for your purpose.
Yeah.
Right? And now it's like, oh, so I get to decide what I do today. I get to decide what I do before this client or whatever your day's filled with, you know? And it's more of like that playground of like, oh, this is my time right now, right? And knowing and foreseeing that it's going to be different. And then you play around that with that in your head of like, when I do have this full schedule because this business is kicking ass, then how am I going to show up in that day? How will that person answer the phone? How will that person answer the emails? Right? So like practice. Like if you want to have a good business, answer the emails, answer the phone calls, do the things that you are going to end up having to do, like master them.
Yeah. Right on.
Makes sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I felt all that.
Okay, good.
Yeah, rad.
I think that the biggest thing that we learn is patience here on earth. Like literally our biggest lesson is patience because we think that we know the timing and it just isn't true. And that's that lack programming. Something's missing. I'm missing something. I need to do more. I need to do more. Something's missing. I need to do more. Does anybody else have anything they're working through or working on? We have a question about. I don't know. So otherwise we can go straight to a meditation or if anybody has anything. But yeah, I think the patience is our biggest thing. And to really understand like the timing is just not up to us. It's just not. Like we think that it is and we think that we know best and it's just a learning game. And it's our resistance to what we think it should be and how it should look, but we all see it through the lack of it's not enough programming. Like all of us see it through that. We're always going to see that. And so I think that 99% of us have the it's not enough programming to some degree, whether it shows itself in perfectionism, paying attention to what we're not doing instead of what we are doing. It can show itself in lack of compliments, being able to accept these things for ourselves. So if we can then notice how we're seeing that and where the it's not enough is coming through, then we're like, oh, there's our it's not enough programming. And it just loses its power because we see it for exactly what it is. And we're able to be like, oh, okay, well, I'm always going to see what's not done instead of what I did do today. So if we're looking at a list of that I didn't complete these things today, let's focus on what we did do. So it's just that like little changes in our brain that is like, okay, well, what did we do? I did do this. Because I personally think that if we were to look at our day and whether we accomplished something based on our values and how we showed up instead of what we did or didn't do, this world would be a lot better place in general because we all do so much and it really doesn't matter. It's a matter of if we showed up with our core values of kindness, honesty, compassion, love, however we're going to show up. So a gift for you guys. I am going to donate 3 of my reboot sessions. I know a couple people in here have had one. And I would love to gift those to you. So there's a little sign-up sheet in the back. And basically what we do is we talk about some of the things that are working and not working and try to see where some of these programs are in our head and be able to work through some of that. And we don't have to air our problems to everybody in the room. But not to say that your problems, you know what I mean? And it's a great way to do our work and be able to release everything that we're ready to get rid of. Because with what we're going to do a little bit of a meditation here in a minute. But what I want us to really focus on is when we walk out of here, that we attune ourselves to a new version of us. So I earlier was like 2026 Mindy, right? So like this version of a new version of me. So if you guys can come up with something that you would call yourself, or like new me or whatever this, I want you to actually like come up with a name. Whether it's your name, whether it's new me, whatever it is, I invite you guys to attune yourselves to a new version of you. And that is an incredible way to tell the universe, I'm new, I'm different. This is me, I'm new. And the more that you can play on that, the more that you're like, oh, she is different. Oh, this is a new version. Oh, this is. And you keep attuning yourself to this frequency of you existing in 2026. This end version of you in 2026. Yes.
Have you tried any other psychedelics other than Blessed Tea?
I have. Yeah, I've tried most of them. Yes, but
Maybe you could be.
well, I would say that ayahuasca is definitely the one thing that has like completely changed my life. Like I made the biggest changes after that, whether it was just because it was scary or that it was big or it just felt really big. Like it's probably been like 10 years that I did my first ceremony. And at that point, I had been doing spiritual things, classes, workshops, weekends, retreat, like a lot of things over 20 years. But I would say that ayahuasca ceremonies were the most transformational thing that I ever did in any sort of spiritual anything. Those weekends were the most transformational. Whether it was just because it was really scary and I was proud of myself for stepping out of the comfort zone and actually showing up. I don't know, but it definitely was the most transformational for sure. But then otherwise, I do a lot of my work during live music. And I see a lot of live music. And so being in like a concert situation, it's kind of limited into what I can do in public and not get kicked out of somewhere or, you know. So in general, trying to stay, you know, somewhat in my body or at least standing, which is why I like to stand near a rail. At least I know I'm standing. And not falling down. But yes, but I love live music for that the most. Like I think that is the way that I hear my own guidance the most, for sure. In general, of just being able to get out of my body and into the realms that I'm able to hear more of, like the passion and purpose and guidance and all of that. But also being intuitive, it can also really depend on the environment that I'm in, as far as like the safety of going really far, because I do need to protect myself as well. So being in safe environments is an important part of that. Good question.
That's what we meant.
And that's how we met. Yeah. Just dancing in the sand and my Andy. In the church of fish. Yes. Perfect. So I think we're ready for this meditation. So I want you to get really comfortable. You're in a safe space. Focus on your breath. Breathing in. Breathing out. I want you to feel the safety of this space of unconditional love and acceptance. There is nothing to do, nothing to force. Just arrive in this moment. So I want to thank your angels, masters, teachers, and guides for bringing you here today for your healing. And ask anything of the light who would like to help facilitate this. Be present. Bring your attention to source coming through your crown. Feel the light, the warmth through your crown chakra, going down into your body. Feel this light go from your head down into your heart and through your solar plexus, down your legs, and anchor you into earth. And we ask that earth absorb anything not serving us any longer. Releasing tension, pressure, expectations. We are safe to let those go now. So this light that's coming from source, I want you to see it and feel it all around you in this gigantic bubble of protection, this violet flame of protection all around you in this magnificent bubble, all around you, beside you, behind you. A complete sphere. So I want you to take your hand and place it on your heart. And feel where your hand connects to your body. Feel that connection. This isn't forced energy. This is just flow. This is your connection to you. This connection is available to you always. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. And with the exhale, I want you to relax your nervous system and soften your body. So your heart recognizes your touch and it recognizes you. This is the connection that matters the most. Thank you for always hearing your guidance clearly. Now, imagine that you're standing in a dark room. And in the very, very far distance, you see this bright light, this bubble, this bright light. And you start looking at it and you realize that this is you. That all the way over on the other side, this is you. This is that 2026 December version of you. Like, is that me? Yes, that's you. Way off in the distance. So this version of you starts very slowly walking towards you. And I want you to notice this ball of light around you. It is a protective bubble that is always there, moving with you. As it slowly moves towards you. So it gets to a point where this version of you is standing right in front of you. So not only do I want you to see this version of you standing in front of you, I want you to feel it. The magnetic energy of you. And I want you to hold out your other hand in your mind's eye or in reality, whichever one, and put your hand on that person's heart, on that future version of you. So you have one hand on your heart now and one hand on this future version of you. Now I want you to feel the bond. I want you to feel the energy flowing between you two as you breathe in the frequency of you. I want you to incorporate and embody and merge these versions of you. You are not separate from this. You are one. So you merge together with this version of you by following your passions and your joy. I want you to feel the excitement of merging with this version of you and how excited you are for all the things that you get to do this year. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to hug this version of you. Big, huge hug. Like grasping hug. And feel the energy of that merging and that oneness and the excitement of all the things that you guys get to do together. And I want you to think of that yes, like, oh my gosh, finally, yes, this is happening. Yes, we get to do this. And be so proud of yourself. Oh, yes. So when you're ready to detach from the hug, I want you to feel the energy as you separate. I want you to feel that you're still connected, but you've released. And then feel the energy as this future version of you starts to step back through the room. I want you to feel the energy as it's separating and that you're still connected, but in this energetic way. There's almost this like longing of like, oh, that hug was so great. Yes. This energy is so amazing. I want more of that, more of that. So we're learning to come from that frequency of you. As you stand in your power and you stand in this knowingness of being so proud of yourself. You feel the strength and the power and the courage as you stand strong. It is a power that you have never felt before. This is new power and courage and strength. So when this future version of you gets back in the corner and it's just out from your distance, I want you to see that you know it's still there. You may not be able to see it as much or feel it as much, but you know that it's there. And that in its power is you holding the frequency that this already has happened and that you know it's there. And you stand with this courage and knowing that you are magic. You are magic. And you have a magic wand that you can wave at any time. And that you are creating exactly what you need. Even when it can be challenging, you're still learning. And you're still putting one foot in front of the other every day. Breathe that in. We are not bypassing anything. We are here for it all. Every part of this journey teaches me everything I need to know. I want you to know and feel the strength that you have in yourself. And with this light, I want you to remember that this bubble of protection is yours at all times. You are in this bubble of protection. This is your bubble. And all you have to do is just imagine it. When you wake up in the morning, here I am, my bubble of protection. It's here for me today. When you're in public and you need protection, just imagine this bubble of protection around you. You are protected in all ways, always. Now, as you start to come back, I want you to be really proud of yourself for showing up and being a magnificent being here to be a light in this world. And be that reminder that no matter what comes into your life, you are amazing and can get through anything that is set in your way. So when you're ready, you can open your eyes. But I want you to memorize this frequency. This is you. And this is that frequency that I want you to remember, to connect with, to remember how that feels. Because this is you. And it's coming from here that gets you where you want to be.
That's awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We just do this end on that, and that's a very nice note to end on. Feels good, Deb.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for coming in.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. Yay.